This program is a paid commercial announcement and in no way represents the views of WPH.D or its management.
Talk Radio 1210 WPH.D, WPH.D HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. Now, Health Watch, featuring Dr. Molly FANTASIA, the PhD doctor and founder of Innovative Medical Associates, with valuable information that could help you improve your quality of life. Now, Health Watch, and your host, John Damazzi.
Well, I want you to know that Dr. Molly and I are feeling very presidential today in honor of President's Weekend. I mean, it's a good feeling, isn't it, Dr.
it's
Molly?
great. It's great.
Okay. We could save it for Washington and Lincoln and those people. All right. We'll do our show as per usual. Health Watch every Sunday, 8 till 9 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. What do we talk about here on the show? Well, I guess you can say the clue is in the title. Talk about health, and specifically how Dr. Molly and her staff at Innovative Medical Associates can help you and your family as far as your overall health picture is concerned. Dr. Molly FANTASIA, as you heard the man say, is the PhD doctor and the executive director and the founder of Innovative Medical Associates, Marlton, New Jersey. And we will talk about the who, what, when, where, why, and how of Innovative Medical and how they can potentially help you, as I said, and your family as far as your overall health is concerned. That is our mission statement here on the show. And as always, if you have a question for Dr. Molly or you have a medical challenge you want to run by her here on the program, 855-839-1210 is the number, 855-839-1210. Anytime during the course of the show, feel free to call in and ask a question or run that medical challenge by Dr. Molly. Innovative Medical Associates, Dr. Molly, we always say who, what, when, where, why, and how. I mean, so I guess you can sum it up in a couple of sentences here.
I hope so.
What you do?
I hope so. We're a medical collaborative of like-minded healthcare providers. We can do anything that is normally done in any primary care facility. So if you need a medication, well, you can order the medication. If you need, us to write some scripts for radiology, of course, our docs can do that. But I think the biggest thing that separates us from the rest of the pack is that we have a mindset that we would like to help people with more natural approach. We're not saying to get rid of your medication, but we are saying if we can use the least amount of medication to effectuate the change that we're looking for and keep your side effects at minimum, that is our game plan.
And we're going to talk later on in the show a lot of different things, but you were telling me before the show that I had a situation about 12 years ago with a kidney problem.
That's right.
And you said, boy, if this was out then, we could have used this on you. So you're always looking for some new things.
Sure.
And natural things to help people.
Right. And, one of the things that I'm very astutely aware of is that conventional medicine today has become much more institutionalized, right? Big systems. It's been industrialized, pharmaceuticals, that kind of thing. And the science, of course, is always moving forward with many new discoveries that unfortunately don't always become available to patients as rapidly as we would like, because you've got to move the institutions. And that's really the key. So in our facility, because we are a standalone and a small facility, our doctors are able to utilize new science to help a patient through some of their challenges, but not getting rid of things that have been tried and true. It's as simple as that.
Best of both worlds, right?
That's what we try to do, the best of both worlds. And we want to minimize side effects from any of these conventional methodology, including the pharmaceuticals. Look, we have plenty of people who are taking pharmaceuticals in our facility, meaning patients. But the idea is, isn't it better that we give them something that we can augment with the hydration, with a natural product, and keep the side effects way down?
You were talking about conventional systems, and we're not here to put them down.
Oh,
but
no.
How many times have you visited someone in the hospital, and all I've seen is the nurses, the assistants, they're on the computer.
Oh, well, that's a whole other. That's a whole other.
That's a
story.
whole other.
Listen,
but I'm saying it's like there's so much focus on that.
I just had this conversation with my medical director. In other words, listen, of course we need to streamline information. I get that. I get it.
Yes.
But you know what? Nothing takes the place of good old-fashioned dialogue with your patient. Nothing.
Which I see you do all the time.
I try. I'm out there. I try to be the eyes and ears of the entire clinic.
We should mention that your protocols are delivered via hydration.
Exactly.
And you're always tweaking it because I mentioned to you before the show, I said, I noticed something. It seems like what I'm getting appears to be a bit stronger, more potent than in the past. And you said, yes, that is true. So you're always taking the hydration, the protocols, but you're tweaking and you're maneuvering, I should say.
I like to look at new information and see how we can apply that in certain conditions specific and apply it to a patient and improve their quality of life. Listen, that's what it's all about. But the most important thing I want to say is, from the patient's perspective, what do we need to do? We've got to get enough reserve in that they start to feel like you. And that's really the key. You've got to be compliant, too. You just can't come in once every 2-3 years and say, oh, well, I think I need a tune-up. That's great, and we'll do it for you. But you want to get consistent in your own care, whether it's orally and what we do through the hydration.
Interesting, this week you had patients coming in from Pittsburgh.
Yes, yes.
And your lovely Linda asked me, she said, how far is Pittsburgh from here?
That's my love.
About 6 hours. What?
Yeah, it was six and a half hours for them to come in.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting scenario because, again, that had to do with men's health. And fascinating because I believe one of the fathers of men's health, I was lucky enough to take a few courses with him, and he's kind enough, he's retired now, and so if people call him, he sends them over to Dr. Molly. But I find it interesting because there are certain things that are tried and true, John, and really we need to look at hydration in terms of its medical abilities. We really do.
Right. My point about the Pittsburgh story was that you had people coming from there, and you have people that come like every other week. They drive 4 hours.
Right.
And then you have people coming from Florida.
Right.
And you have people from California.
People from Indiana.
Indiana. So it's spanning the globe with Dr. Molly.
I actually have to tell you that the people from Indiana called me. This is very interesting. They want to know, they have a friend who wants to do this. And, you know, I've had this many times, and they want to utilize my protocols. Well, I'm open to that, but boy, I run a stringent type of operation. To use my protocols, you're not just going to take the protocols and sort of tweak them to be a little cheaper, let's say. And,
right.
You know, see, that's the problem. I never want my protocols are very expensive to produce. They are, John.
I know that.
And particularly now because raw materials are so backed up. We know this in everything, right?
Right.
You try your car, right?
Yeah.
Try to get a new car without waiting.
There's a shortage of that.
Right. So believe it or not, there's a shortage of me getting things like the tapioca. This past week, I heard that there was a problem getting Mexican avocados, right?
Yeah.
And I use food sources for many things. So the thing is, I want people to understand there's a reason, there's a cost associated with what we do, you know, and it's important that you use only the highest quality of product out there. So I'd be like a vigilant person. I'm not sure I can do that for them.
Well, we should explain to the audience that your protocols are your protocols.
They are.
Developed by you with
my
over,
docs, yeah.
with over 28 years in the business.
20-some, yeah. It's hard to believe.
So it's like saying Coke doesn't give their recipe out.
No.
So you can buy Coke and you can buy cola, but it's not Coke.
That's right.
Understand? So
That's
this
right.
is so the audience understands what you have.
That's exactly right.
Is unique.
Right.
And so coming to your facility is your protocols. You can't get them anywhere else.
Right.
That's
you can't, and it's how the synergies of many of my natural products work. And that is the art of doing this. In other words, what can we put together to intensify a particular nutraceutical, those kinds of things.
All right, we're coming up on our first break of the morning. Our program is called Health Watch, and you'll find us here every Sunday our live version, 8 till 9, here on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Dr. Molly Fantasia is here. She's the PhD doctor and the executive director and the founder of Innovative Medical Associates, Marlton, New Jersey. And I'm your host, John DeMasi. 855-839-1210 is our number here in the studio. If you have a question for Dr. Molly or you have a medical challenge you want to run by her, this is the time to do it. We always tell you call early so you make sure we get you in. This is a good time to do that, 855-839-1210. We're coming back with more of today's edition of Health Watch after these words. As always, when we're here on the Health Watch program, operators are standing by at Innovative Medical Associates, and you can contact them directly if you'd like right now, 856-489-0505, 856-489-0505. You call and you want more information, they'll be happy to provide that for you. But most importantly, and this is really where you get a lot of the information you need, you schedule the appointment to sit down with Dr. Molly. The initial consultation is complimentary. And not only do you get the information, but you get to see the clinic and you can talk to some patients. You really get a good idea of what it's all about firsthand. And that's what you want to do. 856-489-0505 is the number. And the website, innovativemedicalassociates.com. Innovativemedicalassociates.com is the website. And, of course, our show, Health Watch, Sundays 8 till 9, Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Again, our number here in the studio, 855-839-1210, if you have a question for Dr. Molly or a particular medical challenge that you'd like to discuss, 855-839-1210. This has been known as by another name, Dr. Molly, and I know you're kind of big on this, but let's talk about natural biologics.
Natural biologics. Sure.
And this is used for
degenerative diseases.
What kinds of conditions?
It can be used in many, many forms. It's what we're doing is we're really looking at the exomes. That's the extracellular vesicles, or the small bubbles released from cells that acts as that shuttles information and proteins to the other cells. And generally, we're using this from MSC cells. That's all I'm going to say. We use it from something called MSC cells. Long name, but actually, when we get to it, it's really younger exomes that we're looking at. And we're using this for treatments with neurological conditions, cancer, immune disorders. Now, when we say treatments, I'm saying treatments to improve your quality of life. We're not using any of these to cure. And it's a form of regenerative medicine. And I'll tell you, I just started, I've been doing this on and off for the past year and a half or 2 years, looking at ways to help improve quality of life, certainly for people like our MS patients, including one of my docs. And that's really how I got interested in it. But I'm seeing more and more data about this. Now, here's the thing. There are companies all over the United States doing this, and there are companies internationally. The gentleman that I actually looked at works out of the Grand Bahamas, and the other one works out of the Grand Caymans, okay? So you can tell that they're not FDA approved.
Right.
I'm not, not telling. But we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars that they're using. But, there's a way to make this a little more affordable, like for people who come into our facility. But the thing is, I'm excited about this because what you're doing is you're using these extracts from younger cells, from younger people, so that you're able to help the body, older folks like myself. You want the body to recommunicate with these exomes. They really do the heavy lifting. People think the MSC cells are what's doing the heavy lifting. They're not. It's the exomes, the communicators. They liken it to the city of New York. The city of New York is large, right?
Yes.
But it's all the buildings communicating and shuffling around the people that actually makes New York a hub, right?
Yes.
The same thing is true for our bodies. Our bodies, as we get older, certain systems deteriorate, causing the problem. So by utilizing these exomes and these natural biologics, you can get the body back to homeostasis. The idea is, and homeostasis is Goldilocks, it's the balance, right? The balance, John.
Okay, so let's see if I understand this. if you're using younger cellular extracts, and let's take me for example. I'm 71. So if you
look good.
Well, thank you. Thanks to you.
Okay.
If you put let's say cells from a 35-year-old man into me.
How about a brand new cells from a brand new baby? What do you think would happen then?
Wow, I
That's
can't
right.
imagine that, but it sounds
That's
great.
right. Listen, they've been doing this for years in terms of skin. I have a product called stem cell, apple stem cell, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's another product. What's it doing? It's giving it the peptides and the exomes to your own skin to help re-solidify and regenerate your skin to look a little younger. Now, look, this is not a miracle. You're not going to walk through this, get a few treatments, and come out on the other side at being 26 again. All right?
Well, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Those lines.
No. But there are ways we can improve certain degenerative types of challenges. And this is a whole new way for us to really look at these disease-modifying strategies. That's the point. They're disease-modifying strategies. In other words, you come in, you have a chronic condition. Another way that we've done this is PRP, right? Platelet-rich plasma.
Right.
Very similar. You extract the platelets, you then shoot it into the knee or the shoulder or the elbow, and it helps the healing process, right? It starts good inflammation, and then you start to heal. Your own body starts to heal. Well, imagine using these particular cellular products and shooting that in with your own platelets. What do you think happens? It intensifies the
absolutely,
outcome.
yeah.
It intensifies the outcome.
Is this something that is delivered via IV, like
Yes,
everything else
yes, it's delivered IV. It's delivered injectable. If someone wants to have more information about this, I would like them to call the office, because this is the kind of thing you want to talk about to folks one-on-one to see if it's something that will help their quality of life while they're going through this. I used it this week. Everyone knows my patient, Sandy. I used it on her this week. Again, IV, using the IV because it's systemic for all, because she has problems in her joints. She has small joints, large joints. I mean, she's a mess with rheumatoid arthritis.
Right.
So I called her the day after, and she said, it's interesting. I went home because you must rest after this, right? Why? The body regenerates in sleep, right? That God's made that happen. Okay. The body regenerates in sleep. So she went home. She said she took a 2-hour map. She said initially when she was getting it, she felt her pain a little more intensified, but that quickly weaned. And she said, actually, I felt more energy, less pain. I felt like I could get up and go. And I said, really? And she said, yeah. So I'm happy with that. Now, that's one patient, one outcome. I'm not saying she's walking on water. I'm not saying any of that. It's not holy water. None of this is holy water. It takes time. But what's happening is it's shuttling certain genetic information and proteins to her entire body.
Do you see your facility and yourself recommending this more and more as we go into the future?
I think it is 21st, 22nd medicine being done right now. But I find it interesting that these people who've really pioneered this had to do this in Cayman Islands and all of this offshore because the FDA and the powers to be it just won't take the time. Here's the case of what I said earlier. Science is trying to move ahead. Medicine is stuck a little bit.
Right.
Isn't that something?
And that's
the age-old problem
Right.
with science versus medicine.
The regulations.
The regulations and everything else. So, I mean, the bottom line is this is an option for care, and I recommend it for certain people. And I think, it doesn't hurt, especially if you can make it affordable for a patient to do.
And you've done that.
I've tried.
You've had a couple of patients so far.
Yeah, who have used it. So I think we're going to
fairly good success.
Fairly good success, and I think again, this is the kind of thing where maybe one treatment doesn't do it. You probably need a series. But, we're working on this. I believe that I have this down in terms of what we're doing, because also what we're doing is we want to feed these exomes. So part of the hydration comes into this.
Yes.
Okay. In other words, I'm going to feed this. This is like planting the seeds, right? Planting the seeds, and then we're going to add some additions like watering the seeds and feeding the seeds. That's the bottom line. So our program's a little different.
As most of your programs are.
Right, right.
And the thing is with Sandy and the other patient you're talking about, they've always had, people with these conditions always had problems with this.
Right.
And they just can't seem to get relief. And
That's
you've been
right.
able to do that.
Now, I want to talk about Tim. Tim was my patient who had COVID. Since we were always talking about COVID, can't get away from it. So he really had lung damage. Now, he came in this week and he said, I feel like working out. I said, I wouldn't do that. He's still on a low amount of oxygen that's generated. But I had done this particular program on him just about a week and a half ago. And he felt so good that he was telling me, I want to go down and work out. And I showed him why he shouldn't do that. You know that I have the physical therapy unit in our office,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And what we did was we put him on this. It's a very simple thing. It's a body vibrator. And I showed him why he shouldn't do this, because even doing 3 minutes of vibration therapy after he had this treatment. Now, I want you to know he's greatly improved, right? He's greatly improved. He had to stop, and he said, Molly, I'm glad you showed me this, because I was going to work out on my total gym. I said, not on my life. I'm calling your wife. I said, don't even start that. He said, okay, I got it. And he got it. But he was able to maintain this vibration therapy for probably 3 minutes, but that was it, without his pulse ox going down into the 80s. So it just goes to show you the ravages of this COVID when it hits your lungs. And he still said to me, I feel infinitely better. I'm able to walk a block and a half without stopping.
Which is tremendous.
Right, but he's also following the protocol. He's coming in twice a week to get his hydration, along with what I gave him, the biological MCSs. So this is the question. There it is.
Okay. We are coming up on our halfway point of the show. It's Health Watch, Sundays 8 till 9, Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Dr. Molly Fantasia is here. She is the PhD doctor and the executive director and the founder of Innovative Medical Associates, located in Marlton, New Jersey. Got a question for Dr. Molly right now here on the show. Good time to jump in. We do have some open lines, and we always tell you, call in early so we can take plenty of time to discuss your situation. 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. That's our number here in the studio. With Dr. Molly Fantasia, I'm your host, John DeMasi. We both return. More of today's Health Watch after these words. Operator standing by right now at Innovative Medical Associates. And if you were listening to the previous segment, I'm sure you may have some questions about what we talked about, natural biologics. So you can call them right now at 856-489-0505, 856-489-0505. You can ask them about that, or you can make an appointment basically to sit down with Dr. Molly and go over your particular situation. The initial consultation is complimentary, and during the course of the week, Dr. Molly does see a lot of folks who listen to the program, so you can be one of them. 856-489-0505, 856-489-0505, Innovative Medical Associates, Marlton, New Jersey, and the website, innovativemedicalassociates.com. InnovativeMedicalAssociates.com is the website. And again, our program is called Health Watch. You'll find us here every Sunday, 8 till 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. And we do have some open lines. Now, if you want to ask a question of Dr. Molly, or you have a medical challenge you want to run by her, feel free. 855-839-1210. Always something new, Dr. Molly, and I know you've got this new liquid biopsy that you want to talk about.
You've heard me speak about liquid biopsies in the past. Well, there's several of them on the market right now. And one, of course, that we were using in the early years, we had to send to Greece because it wasn't approved, of course. The technology wasn't approved here in the States. But the good news is I've been working with a company that just got approval for liquid biopsy. It tests 50 cancers. 50 cancers. What it's doing is it's a little different. It isn't actually looking at all the genetics of a particular cancer. It's actually picking up cancer cells and actually looking at the cell signaling. What is it giving out to the rest of the body? And this technology is very exciting. I actually ran one of the first tests on me. So I'm waiting for the results. And the beauty of this test is it's only about $950 to the patient, meaning that's the cost to the laboratory. Now, if a patient's enrolled in our cancer supportive care, I'm utilizing this test. I'm talking to them if they can afford it. I would really like them to do this. Why? Because if I start to see cell signaling, let's say you came in with a breast cancer, but we notice that the cell signaling is going to the lung. It's signaling to the lung. Guess what? I can switch up the hydration protocol to address all of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Does it mean that if it goes that
it picks up
the lung?
It picks up the cell signaling.
Okay.
It's saying it's the pathways of where the cells are going. That's very, very important because that changes what we can put in the bag to help you maintain quality and to maintain your overall wellness while going through whether traditional treatments or not. For example, if you are taking a traditional, let's say, breast cancer treatment, and we see that it's cell signaling to the bone, I want to get on that right away and possibly might even help your oncologist get on it and reevaluate what the treatment protocols are.
Does it mean that you are a candidate or that you are likely to get lung cancer? Or
well, it could mean that your particular cancer is signaling to the bone to start a secondary in that particular area. And again, we're going to look at this I really want to, as soon as mine comes in, then I want to tell people and show people how it's worked for me. And I think that's going to be the key, showing them an actual report, of course, and I can do that since it's my own, and showing them why I want to use this and what the report looks like. So it's going to be really interesting, John.
Does it help as a preventative for
future
cancers?
I've got to say,
because people are going to ask you that,
right? But I can't say that. I have to say this. What it does is it helps us say possibly that we can jump on something that might be metastasizing to another area. And it might be something worth looking into and doing some conventional radiology or conventional blood work to show that possibly things are changing, right? And you might be able to preempt some things. So that I can say.
All right. So if anyone has had any form of cancer,
right? Well, these 50, these particular 50.
This is something you should.
I would look at,
right? Okay.
I would look at, but I want to caution everybody. I'm only using it for people who are enrolled in our hydration protocols, using the medical hydration, because I think, I could be swamped and then I have to do all these interpretive types things. And I really want to use it for my patients so that I know I'm going to maintain their quality of life. But, you've heard me speak before. What do I talk about all cancer therapies? I say the best people I've had, the best patients I've had, has done traditional cancer. They've used chemo, radiation, whatever, surgery. They've gotten the surgery. So, they've done the best by using the supportive therapies to maintain quality of life. I have a patient right now that and I don't usually get frustrated with people, but she's going all over the place. And what's happening then is I can't get a handle on what's working or what isn't. Right?
Yes.
Because not only is she going to me, she has a pacemaker and she went out and got some kind of magnets. Bad move without checking with the doctor who ran the pacemaker. In other words, she has a cardiologist for the pacemaker, right?
Yes.
Well, guess what? Shouldn't she call him before she runs out and gets magnets, or at least talk to me? And I would have told her, "Whoa, we need to call your cardiologist."
Absolutely, yes.
So you see, I don't want people running all over. So I'm very orderly. There has to be a methodology to what we do, an actual process.
And I know you told me before the show, you told me I should consider getting this.
Oh, yes.
Very strongly
yes.
consider it.
Yes, because you had 2 bouts with 2 different types of cancer.
Right.
So it would be very interesting to run your test. Now, if God is good and our integrative treatments are working, right, the hydration treatment, we may not have any cell signaling. Wouldn't that be an interesting thing?
That would be nice to find out.
That would be a great thing to find out. But I wouldn't slack off on our treatments.
No.
Right.
No, because that's what got me to this point.
Amen.
Right.
You got the good Lord and the treatments. That's right.
And the treatment.
Thank
you. So this is something that, again, is being offered. This is relatively new. Correct?
Very new for this side of the ocean. Because, again, the FDA made this infinitely impossible for companies, scientists, to work on this. Here's another issue where science and medicine takes time to catch up.
Do you ever see that like coming together? Because I know you're a scientist.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think when we get more and more physicians who are more and more interested in thinking out of the box, and I have several that work with me and also consult, you're going to find more and more of this. And the novel ways to utilize testing, that's the key. Utilize the science in a way that works for conventional medicine.
And this is something, I mean, I learned a lot from you because doing this show and being a patient of yours. But this is something that you don't hear a lot about.
No, because it's not offered in every organization or in every practice. But someday it will become standard of care. That's the thing. Everything has to become standard of care. And it takes time to do that. The science takes time.
But in your 25 plus years of practice, you've seen a lot of changes.
I sure have. I've seen a lot of...
And many for the good. Right?
Many for the good. Conventionally, many for the good. And again, this is why I urge people that to do conventional is not a big bugaboo. It's not bad to do some conventional. It's how you do it. It's how you do it. You want to have a good quality of life. Look, we all know chemo is out there. It's always going to be out there, and it may be needed. But if you can get through that and maintain a quality of life, and I've seen it, we've definitely helped people do it.
We are coming up on our final break of the morning. Our show is called Health Watch, and you'll find us here every Sunday, 8 till 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPH.D. I'm your host, John DeMasi, with Dr. Molly Fantasia, the Ph.D. doctor and the executive director and the founder of Innovative Medical Associates, Marlton, New Jersey. We do have a couple of minutes left of the show, which means you still have time to get in here with a question or a particular medical challenge you want to run by Dr. Molly, or just a generic question if you like. 855-839-1210 is the number. 855-839-1210. That's the number here in the studio. With Dr. Molly, again, I'm John DeMasi. We return. More Health Watch after these words. Back here on Health Watch, again, operators standing by at Innovative Medical Associates. And I should tell you that they don't go home at 9 o'clock when we leave. They stay, all right? They stay all day, all right? And they're not really celebrating President's Weekend. They work tomorrow and today. So give them a call, 856-489-0505. That's the number, 856-489-0505. That is the number for Innovative Medical Associates located in Marlton, New Jersey. And we've talked about a lot of new things today. Basically, you want to call up and say, hey, what's new? I'd like to find out more. Then you make an appointment to sit down with Dr. Molly, and she can review all those things with you in the initial consultation, which is complimentary. And again, that number, 856-489-0505, and the website, innovativemedicalassociates.com. Innovativemedicalassociates.com is the website. Should mention that we normally have our Health Watch replay, but we are preempted by sports programming today, so we'll be back with you next week in our Health Watch replay.
I hope, because, you know, my patients tell me I'm interfering with church, which I agree with. Right. I want you to go to church, folks.
Right.
You know.
So that's just one of those things that happens from time to time. All right, we're talking today here on the show about new things, new procedures. Novel. And we're continuing that theme, Dr. Molly. Two things we want to talk about. Cryoablation,
yes,
and repurposing drugs, which you touched on in previous shows.
Right.
So let's start with the cryoablation.
Yeah.
What is that?
This is a very interesting process, and I actually had this done. Now, it's not done everywhere. Generally, it can be done either from the surgery department, or in my case, it was done through interventional radiology. But cryoablation, everybody knows about cryo. Cryo means cold, the
Right.
cryo. So cryoablation is a treatment to help diminish cancer cells with extreme cold. So during cryoablation, a wand-like probe is inserted through the skin directly into the cancerous tumor. Now this is very interesting, and so that the doc is able to really go right in, pinpoint the tumor, and ablate it, which means get out. Cold, right? Freeze it out. If you've had ablation on your skin, if you've had a particular skin tag or a mole, you've seen this work.
Yes.
A little wand, they do the skin. Well, they've actually perfected this. So they can do this freezing and thawing process, can be repeated several times during the same treatment. So cryoablation is used sometimes as a surgical in replace of surgical intervention. Now, the idea, though, is generally it's not used as a primary treatment. In other words, if you need your tumor removed, you got to get it out. But let's say you have several small tumors on places like the liver, and it could happen that you had another cancer, it went to the liver, and there are small kinds of tumors there. Cryoablation may be an option, but you've got to get to the right doctor to get that done. So it's been used for bone cancer, cervical cancer, eye cancers. I find that very interesting. Liver cancer, lung, and in particular prostate cancer. And I got interested in this from the perspective of our men's health. And if you think about how small the prostate is, but how spongy it is, that maybe this is an option for guys who have prostate cancer. And again, I've sent people to someone who does cryoablation, see if they're a candidate, maybe before they've had the conventional treatment, and it might be something that can be done. It's not done always, but if it can be, it should be looked at.
You mentioned to me before the show, we were talking about this, and for those who don't know, I had one kidney removed because I had kidney cancer, and this is like 12 years ago.
That's right.
But you told me if this was around,
well, wouldn't that have been something?
When I had this problem,
we would have looked at going to get this done first
without removing the kidney.
Correct. We might have been able to ablate. It depends on the size. Obviously, they can't do it when the tumor is so large,
right?
Because you're putting yourself at risk. But if it's a small tumor, which now I would like to say this is one of the reasons why people who are sitting in my chairs, we see them so often. If there's a little change, if they talk to me about a little change, well, maybe we have to get them out for get some other data, because if the tumors are small enough, maybe ablation might be a way for this to help. So you got to realize that this isn't for everyone, and it's not, but it is a new procedure that's being done in a lot of systems. Took a long time, by the way.
Right.
It took a long time for them to prove it, because I happen to know an interventional radiologist who I spoke to, and he said they had to do the studies for about 10 to 12 years before they were able to really get it out there. And still, he said, it's not out there totally.
All right, we have a couple of minutes left of the show. I know you wanted to get to this, so let's see how much we can get in here.
Sure.
The repurposing of drugs. You talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the show.
I did.
Okay.
Because
what is that about?
Because these drugs have been tried and true. They've been around a long time, but some innovative physicians who are thinking out of the box, started to collect data showing that these particular drugs, one of which actually was a drug for cholesterol, had a real help for some cancer patients. So there were like 5 to 10 of these drugs. Actually, I had lists of them last week, lists and lists and lists. But it's interesting to know that repurposing drugs might be a way for people to use if they've exhausted some other treatment options, that kind of thing. So again, now we've used some of these in our own clinic while patients are undergoing the hydration clinic for the supportive care, using it in a supportive role, metformin being one of them, which has been used for diabetes. And if you think of the action of metformin, it keeps the sugar down.
Right.
Cancer loves sugar. It's one way to help someone through their cancer journey and maintain their good health without much side effects. Another one that I found interesting was ivermectin, which we all know has become a big bugaboo. Now, again, it's not the veterinary ivermectin. It's been used as an anti-parasitic, and in some cases, and some of the data I collected for this actually came out of England. So, I think that people should look at the use of these drugs in addition to what they're doing conventionally.
Wasn't that the one that they say was used for, you know what?
Yes, our big problem, COVID, and God forbid you should, order it. But anyway, it's been used all around the world for other things.
And so that's another
one to repurpose. There's so many other things. For example, I just had a case this week where someone asked me about rice bran, and in particular for cancer. Now, this is a natural product, rice bran. Okay, yes, but there's a new rice brand out. Not really new, but there is one out called MGN3. What that is it's rice bran with extracts of mushroom, utilizing the mushroom to change the composition of the rice bran. And again, it's an enzymatic therapy. So there's so many things, John, out there that we could go on forever.
I mean, basically, people can call your office this week and say, "So, Dr. Molly, what's new?" I mean, and you have a list, right?
I would like them to become patients before because it takes. See, all of these novel approaches that give people better quality of life have to be done carefully because you can't throw everything at every patient. I'm going to go back to why we are unique. We're unique because it's patient specific. It's protocol specific, and that's what we want to get out there. But we're all about utilizing whatever we can to improve your quality of life. Can't cure, but we sure can improve.
And as you've often said, it is the best of both worlds.
We try.
And that is going to put the wraps on another edition of Health Watch. Don't forget, operator standing by right now at Innovative Medical Associates, 856-489-0505. And you can call after 9 o'clock if you like, 856-489-0505. Check out the web, innovativemedicalassociates.com. You can see Dr. Molly's line of skincare products on there as well. Innovativemedicalassociates.com is the website. For Dr. Molly Fantasia and everyone at Innovative Medical Associates, the lovely Linda, Barbara, Joanne, Delightful D, Fabulous Fran, and our nurses Lana and Jess, and our medical assistant Karen Kathy, I'm your host, John DeMasi. Thank you for listening. Have yourself a great week. And thanks to Jim, our producer here, who does a fabulous job.
He's the best.
Each and every week. Have yourself a great week and a healthy one. We'll do it all over again next Sunday. Health Watch, 8 till 9. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. You take care.
This program is a paid commercial announcement and in no way represents the views of WPHT or its management.